Let's get back to it.
A typical day in May of 2016, when you were living in a Mall Drive, would you have been living in that same townhouse that you just described for us?
Yes.
And who all lived with you?
It was only me and my daughter.
And back in May of 2016, how old would your daughter have been? Roughly.
She would have been she would have been like six going on 7 because it was her birthday month.
When is her birthday?
May 21st.
Giselle, why are you crying?
Because I hate I have to talk about this. I hate I have to be here and I hate I have to talk about this. And I thought it was something once it was done I'd never have to talk about it again. And every time I talk about it, it just doesn't ever feel like it's real.
I understand. You need to take a break yourself?
No.
Now, your daughter was 6, and you described it a little earlier. Would you ever get to pick her up from school any days?
No, because like I said, I worked in the office, so incident that occurred, there was just one day that I was able to actually get off work early and get the opportunity to pick her up from school and bring her home.
Let's talk about that day, May 11th, 2016. Can you tell me how that day started?
It started with me going to work. I usually drop my daughter off at school every single morning. And then once I drop off at school, or if I have to be at work a little earlier, I drop off at her grandma's house. But this particular day, I was able to drop her off at school and then go directly to work.
And what car did you have back then?
I had a Toyota Corolla.
What color was it?
It was black.
Was it 2 or 4 doors?
It was 4-door.
When did you get that car?
Oh, I can't even recall when I actually got the car, but it was the first car I was able to get for myself on my own. But I can't recall when I actually bought the car.
That makes sense. So you take your daughter to school in your Toyota Corolla. Around what time did you have to drop her off?
It usually would be about 7:30 in the morning.
And obviously May 11th, it's almost summertime, but is she still in school on that day?
Yes.
And after you dropped her off at school, what did you do? Did you go to work? Or what did you do?
I would go to work.
And how far was where you worked from her school?
Like I said, with the traffic, it'd be like an hour and a half. My goal would always try to get there no later than 9 o'clock.
And when you first headed to work that day, what was the plan in your mind for picking her up later that day?
I was going to work a full day. The plan was just like how it normally was. I was just going to pick her up either from my grandmother or her grandmother would drop off at the house depending on traffic.
Now, you went into work working on the plan in a full day. What day did you end up working that day?
I actually was able to work a shorter day that day. So my job was like, hey, you can go ahead and go home and work your last few hours at the house. And I was like, okay, perfect.
Was that a pleasant surprise?
Yes.
And when you got released early, did you go and pick up your daughter?
Yes.
Do you know roughly around what time you would have picked her up?
It would have been about 2:30, around that time.
And after you picked her up, would she have been sitting in the front seat, back seat? Where would she sit?
In the back seat.
And did y'all go straight home or where'd you go?
Straight home.
Do you know around what time you got home?
It had to be about 2:30, 2:45 because the school is literally right around the corner from the house. So it's not far at all.
Was it daylight?
Yes, it was day.
Was it raining or anything that day?
No, it was sunny day.
Now, at Mall Drive, do you have assigned parking spots or can you park anywhere?
You have assigned spots.
And I'm going to show you I'm going to publish what's already been admitted as 8 Victor. Ms. Hill, do you recognize or see your assigned parking spot in 8 Victor?
Yes, it's spot 7.
Spot 7? And what door was yours in this picture?
It's the door straight ahead, not to the left, but on the right.
Straight behind spot 7?
Yes.
And now, so Ms. Hill, I know it's a little different. Do you back in or do you pull in front? Like, did you back in your spot or pull in?
I pulled in.
You pulled in? Okay. So your headlights would have been facing the front of the apartment? And after you pulled in, would you have had to help your daughter get out of the car?
No. She would have got out. She got out herself. She always got out herself. And she goes to the front door when she gets out the car and waits for me until I get out the car, getting my stuff.
She gets out first and goes to the front door?
Mm-hmm.
And so you pull into your spot 7, park. What is the first thing that you noticed, or did you notice anything unusual?
No. I was just grabbing my stuff out the car. I had my purse that I was getting out of the car. My laptop was in the back. So I hadn't got the opportunity to grab that yet, but I had grabbed my purse. And I was getting out of the car to get ready to go open the door because she was already sitting at the door.
Ms. Hill, what was that, your personal or work laptop?
It was my work laptop.
And what all did you have in your purse that day?
What I shouldn't have had: my social security card, driver's license, my cell phone, of course my wallet that had all my debit cards and stuff in it. My insurance cards, everything that you normally would carry in your purse.
And what kind of purse did you have back then?
It was the first little name brand purse I ever had. It was a brown Michael Kors purse.
All right. You get out, you have your purse, and then what did you notice first after you get out with your items? What did you see next?
I just remember this kid walking up to me, and he had a gun to my head. And I did notice my daughter crouched down behind the bush that was in front of the house. I don't know if it's still there. And I just remember him saying, "Give me your keys." So I gave him my keys. And then after he took my keys, he got into my car from the passenger side and crawled over into the driver's side. And then another gentleman in the car, because the car that he pulled up in that was behind me, it had 4 individuals initially with the young man who got out. But then another older gentleman got out the car with a gun to my head, and he asked for my purse because the kid didn't initially ask for my purse. He only had asked for the keys. So the second gentleman who got out of the car with a gun asked for my purse because it was over my body.
Now, Ms. Hill, I want to unpack some of that. What car did the suspect get out of?
I just know it was a gold car. It was like I couldn't tell you the actual car. I just know it was a gold, older, like a old person car, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. When you first saw him, was he already outside of the car, or was he inside?
No, he was already outside of the car. He was walking up to me.
And how quickly was he approaching you?
I wasn't counting the seconds. It was so fast. I wasn't counting.
When did you first see his gun?
He was walking up to me with the gun.
What kind of gun was it?
I can't tell you the type of gun it was.
Was it a handgun, a shotgun, a long gun?
It was a handgun.
Did you see any color of the gun?
It was black.
And how close did he, when he pulled the gun, how close did he put it?
He was right up on me with the gun.
And what was it that he said?
Give me your keys.
And what was your initial reaction when all of this happened?
I just remember I had urinated on myself, and I remember I just handed him the keys, and I remember saying, well, can I at least get my house key? Because, I mean, there was no way for me to even be able to get in the house. I was just standing here. That was the initial reaction. And I literally was like in shock because I couldn't believe that that was happening. It just didn't seem real.
Did he have any reaction when you asked him that?
None.
Now, Ms. Hill, do you wear glasses or contacts?
I wear contacts.
And were you wearing glasses or contacts that day?
I was wearing my contacts.
And was the suspect who approached you and robbed you, was he wearing a mask?
No.
Was he wearing any type of hood or hat on his head?
No.
Was there anything covering up his face?
No.
Did he do anything to conceal his identity?
No.
And how would you describe him? Was he young, old? What did he look like?
He was a young kid. He was really young.
What was his race and what was he wearing?
He was black. I can't remember what he was wearing. He was just a black young kid, but I know exactly who he was.
You had mentioned earlier there was a second individual who got out. Was that second individual older or younger than the first robber?
He was older guy.
And when did you, can you describe what this second individual did when you first saw him?
The second individual, because he was coming up after the younger individual got in the car, he just asked me for my purse when he came up to me, because I guess he saw that the younger individual didn't take my purse as well along with the car. So he just made sure to get my purse.
And did he have a gun on him as well?
Yes.
And what was he doing with the gun?
Well, he had the gun to my head as well.
And was it a handgun, shotgun, or long gun, or what type of gun?
It was a handgun.
And what, after you gave, so what was it again that this second suspect asked you?
For my purse.
And did you give him your purse?
Yes.
What did he do after he grabbed your purse?
He left and got in the car that they initially all came in.
And was this second individual, was he wearing a mask?
No.
Was he wearing anything to conceal his face?
No.
Now, after they take these items, where did these cars go? I'm going to publish, Your Honor, State's Exhibit 7, Victor. So this may help. I'm going to publish a photograph.
Okay.
So in this, you can use the cars that are parked here. Where would your car have been in relation to these?
My car would have been in spot 7 in front of the door I initially pointed out in the photo. And the cars were in this direction, so they were going this way. So they exited out to the left because you could curve around and go back out to the main road that way.
That makes sense. So they were going from, you tell me, were they not going from blue Mercedes to white BMW to that gray car on the end?
Yeah, they were going from the blue Mercedes to the BMW that's on the end, and they left out that way.
I'm going to publish also, publishing was already been admitted as 8 Victor. Or excuse me, 6 Victor. Is this what you were describing, Ms. Hill?
Yes.
And where does this road, if you were to take this to the end and go left, what does that take you out on?
It takes you back out onto, it's still the neighborhood, so it takes you back out to that road, but when you make a right, it takes you back out to the main road.
And do those two vehicles leave together?
Yeah.
So after they leave, were there any neighbors you saw outside?
Yes.
And was this the neighbor that you had referenced earlier today?
Yes, because her son watched that's kind of the same, well, that's close in age to my daughter. When the incident happened, he was watching the entire time. the incident take place.
So your neighbor and her son, you're saying, were outside as well?
Yes, so I didn't realize they were outside because when the incident happened,